Hello Galactic family. I'm a friend. From my heart to your heart, from my essence to your essence, dear brothers, dear sisters in this humanity, receive graces, blessings. I'll come with you tonight. We will address, in a first phase, if necessary for you, supplementary information regarding what I had transmitted from a short time, and which I called Heavenly Yoga. For those who do not know me, I am, like you, a human brother who has traveled the ways of the incarnation. On the occasion of my last life in this dimension, I experienced the awakening and access to my unlimited consciousness very young and spent all my life studying and living this consciousness. I am the one, in the midst of the noble assembly of the Melchizedeks, best to give you the subtle mechanisms of the awakening of the heart, the awakening of its eternal dimension. As you have come to this space, I come in this space, because the time has come, both for you and for us, to establish a definitive connection that will signal to you, individually and also on a collective scale, the end of separation, the end of all suffering. I will accompany you, in a second moment, in your meditation space where we commune, where we will commune through the heart, heart to heart, from essence to essence. We rejoice, we, Melchizedek, as the whole and all the forces of the intergalactic confederation of the light, from which it comes. What comes is joy, what comes is a celebration, what comes is enthusiasm. The more you rejoice in your beingness, in the midst of your density, the more you will stabilize the unlimited consciousness in your inner temple, the more your enthusiasm will be present, clearing your life, clearing your path, clearing your final moments in the midst of this dimension of ineffable joy and kindness. Several more prestigious actors have spoken to me, through this channel, about the role of abandonment to the light, the role of the reception of heart fire vibration. If you wish it, I will remain very prosaic in the energy vibrational analysis of this new consciousness. I gave them the keys of the activation of the 5 new lamps, granting them the possibility of first accessing their state of being, of accessing joy without object, and then the time experience, of being able to put into practice the spiritual functions of the access to its eternal dimension. Yes, today, we rejoice because the time for reunions is close, very close, in terrestrial terms. Nothing is more important today than ever to go to your essence, the essential, to find what you had forgotten and lost, to relive in the midst of joy, to bathe in the one and true consciousness of what you are. You listen more and more to the words unlimited, presence, unity, joy. We invite you, all without exception, to settle in your heart. This task, if you so desire, is paramount to live what comes, what is there. So I propose to communicate and dialogue with you about this renowned heart, this famous consciousness, the role of breathing, the role of blood, the role of heartbeat, the role of energy and consciousness existing in the midst of the inner temple. Dear brothers, dear sisters of this humanity that is mine, I am now listening to you, hoping to be able to give you elements that seem important to you to go to what you are. I listen to them. Question: could you tell us about breathing work? The breath, the air, is vibration. So my beloved friend Sri Aurobindo said it and repeated it in the beginning, it was the breath. The breath is what animates life. The breath, illustrated in your physiological consciousness by the breath, must now penetrate another dimension of you, up to the present unknown, consisting of perceiving this breath and this breath, not only by the air circulating in the air, but by the air circulating in its cells, in your head, directly and above all in your heart. There is, in fact, an alchemy that is created spontaneously from the moment that the limited consciousness begins the switch to the unlimited consciousness that has made the breath that the air you inspire does not pass only in your lungs, but joins also, at the beginning, to his brain, by means of the activation of the radiant crown of the head. Through the activation of the Ana and Sahasrara chakras, direct ventilation is produced from the nose to the brain without passing through the blood, and this is important. In the same way, when the radiant heart crown is activated, the air of your lungs passes into your heart and your heart then becomes breathing. You perceive, not only the beats, but the breathing the heart breathes. This is not an allegory, not a symbol, but a truth, lived physiologically. Once the air circulates directly in your head and in your heart, then the breath attached to the fire of the ether can finally manifest. At that moment, the breath travels, literally, without going through the blood, the set of its structures. This carries out a considerable step in the permanent access to the unlimited, which gives them the capacity to spontaneously live the first stages of samadhi, of inner joy progressively, and as that breath takes place and settles in your heart, your head, your sacrament, your body, you are able to enter more and more easily into the sacred space of the unlimited consciousness. Some of you, in the period between the close of the 7th stage 17 May and the advent of the unity consciousness July 17th, will begin to live crucial stages corresponding to what in my life I called the Maya Samadhi, the Great Samadhi, the capacity to live the dissolution of the consciousness within the whole, making of you a unified source to the source. Breathing is a motor element because it is the air that nourishes the fire that will, by its own intelligence, dissolve all impurity in you, all resistance in you, bound to limited consciousness. Today, that takes hold of you. As long as you have crossed the first stages of this breath in the heart, things will become astonishingly easy, astonishingly joyful, astonishingly simple. You will then be like the wondering child who discovers something he has never seen. This step of passing the breath into your heart is the guarantee of your ability to recognize and integrate the announcement of Mary and the return of Christ. But beyond this rediscovery, it is above all their own rediscovery with their truth, with unity. We have always told them that we could never take this step in their place, but that we could give them the tools, communicate to them the means of arriving there. Many of you, today, on earth, open up, not solely to spirituality, but open to truth. Today, the whole humanity is invited to live this. Here is what I had to tell you about the breath, about the role of the air in you, as animator of life, animator of consciousness, not conveyed by blood, by the coloring of the soul, but directly by the spirit. Question: does the breathing of the heart cause a decrease in breathing through the lungs? Dear sister, it is indeed a principle of communicating vessel. The heart's breathing will replace the breathing of the lungs. This only ends at the last limit of your maintainability in this dimension. The air passing from the lungs to the heart is an incomparable motor agent. It is, in fact, why various exercises within my culture of origin are supported on the breath, and that other, much more recent explorers of consciousness have used their breath to arrive at modified and altered states of consciousness, which was only the reflection of samadhi, but which, however, showed the capacity of the breath to modify the consciousness. This experience, the state, are elements that you will be called upon to live in the coming weeks. Many of you live it already. This will amplify. The breath imparts the peace, the breath confers the joy, the breath nourishes the fire and nourishes the heart. Even in your limited consciousness, you are able to modulate that breath, to consciously direct it to the heart, to pass that breath, in consciousness and truth, into the heart. It is a quick way to allow the heart fire to manifest itself, for those of you who do not yet live it. Remember also that there is no delay, just as the Archangel Michael said to them and repeated them. Heavenly weddings have allowed some beings to anchor the new consciousness on earth, but it is never too late, until the last moment. It will become more and more easy to live this fire of the heart, and it will become harder and harder to resist. Question: is traditional yoga still useful? Dear brother, every yoga has its usefulness. Whether integral yoga, Kriya yoga, Siddha yoga or many other forms of yoga, have their raison d'etre and their functions. Today, I have given you the heavenly yoga because, in some way, it is a resource that allows you to experience and live very easily the awakening of the heart. Unity consciousness is so close to you that even the simplest exercise of pranayama yoga can allow you to live this heart fire. Do not forget, either, but I will come back to this, that the disposition of the spirit, called abandonment to the light, is crucial. Whatever the technique or yoga, if you are not in abandonment, you will not live the passage of air in the heart. Many, here and elsewhere, could witness to them what they live today. What they live can be put into words, but it is up to you to place yourself in the experience, not to remain in the words or in a technique like another. Today the possibility opens up for you, which will accentuate for some peoples, for some regions of the globe, for access to this unlimited and to live the dissolution of the illusion, in all consciousness. Also remember that this earth needs many of you to remain on this earth during this period. This period will be easy, in the fire of the heart, very easy, contrary to what your mental one could make them believe. But of course, if the mental directs your life, this will be very difficult, not to say other words. In samadhi, everything is easy and everything comes to you by grace. Absolutely everything. In the state where the radiant heart crown is activated, not one strand of your hair will be touched. Do not forget that those who were called the angels of the Lord set foot on the earth. As for us, of unified dimensions well beyond the third dimension, we are very close to you. Each day that passes we approach each other. It is inexorable and this does not suffer any delay. Everything is in place, all the wheels fit together, all the pieces fit together. Living in this joy is easy, very easy. Whatever happens, whatever comes, you are no longer affected, because of the presence of joy. When I say that this is crucial to you, it is. It is indeed the only thing crucial, because in the midst of this thing, you will find everything else. Question: what is called cardiac coherence corresponds to this heart breathing? Beloved, dear sister, what you have just expressed touches on the essential of your physiology. Some scientists of this earth have recently discovered that there are indeed techniques that use technologies that allow synchronization of the heart and breathing in order to modify and make coherent heart rate. These techniques were obviously known to yogis for a long time. They have made them accessible by technology, but as soon as technology is withdrawn from beings who undergo these techniques, it disappears. It is not, therefore, a real opening of the fire of the heart. This is a substitute that will never allow you to live the samadhi, but allows you to approach a state of serenity, a state without tension, without stress, real good, but never lasts, while in the radiant heart of the heart, awakened by yourselves without the help or the contribution of an electronic technology, you will have the capacity to generate this state, more and more easily, without having to control or dominate your heart, because in this case of technology, you dominate, you control. In the case of the awakening of the radiant crown, you do not control, you do not dominate, you abandon yourself. which explains the state of permanence obtained as soon as the samadhi is initialized at will, which is not absolutely the case for what you call the cardiac coherence. His scientists, however, know pertinently that cardiac coherence modifies the individual's resistance to stress, modifies the immune system, formally improves longevity, but yet again does not confer wakefulness. Question: can this trigger violent chest pain? Dear sister, when the first phase of the opening of the radiant heart crown activates what is called the ninth lamp irradiating body of the divine, this ninth lamp is directly connected to the body or manifestation of samadhi. This ninth body is situated between what is called the heart chakra anahata and the visuddha chakra, the throat chakra, on a precise point, situated, therefore, above the heart. When this point is activated in my presence, this signals the activation of the radiant heart crown. This activation can be translated by a violent bar pain in the chest, going after that point and laterally to create this bar until what is called soul and spirit root chakra bilateral acupuncture points ST14, stomach 14, located in a region of about 7 centimeters in diameter under the clavicles. This give, therefore, a pain in the bar, in the chest, with a feeling of constriction, or even of death. But this is not death, it is life. When the pain subsides, at that moment, the radiant crown will definitely be activated. Question: in the breathing of the heart, how do the phases of inhale and exhale unfold? This is done very simply. The mouth is without tension, therefore, slightly ajar. The inhaling and exhaling is done with an open mouth, not voluntarily, but simply by relaxing the muscles of the jaw. The air then penetrates, freely and indistinctly, through the mouth and nose and inspires this air that is automatically inspired, yet once, without control. The only act of consciousness is to direct this breath, not to the lungs, not to the womb, but directly in the heart chakra region. This will most often help you, if you will, from the first posture of the heavenly yoga to activate in you this ninth lamp, this ninth body, allowing initiation of the heart's breathing. There is nothing to guide and to direct, it is your own consciousness that directs the air, but not by the breath. Only the air. You do not have to decide to inhale for so long and expire at the end of so long. This is different from pranayama, certainly. This simply consists in observing the breath, open mouth, and simply directing that flow to the middle of the chest at the level of the heart and heart chakra. Nothing else. From the first instance of activation, be it from the ninth body, or from the radiant crown, you will perceive the effects at the level of your consciousness and the level of joy. Some beings may manifest, at that moment, a very real, but very transitory, feeling of imminent death. It is indeed a small death that is treated, but, very fast, joy will fill them, very, very fast. You can also help during this breathing of front/back and front/rear oscillation movements of your head, allowing you to release the parasympathetic zones located at the cervical level and in the lateral areas of your neck and throat chakra, thus allowing to limit the influence of the emotions and the influence of their own mental illness technique of the breathing. Question: what does the impression of lacking air correspond to? Well, just get the air through the heart. Obviously, I prepare them for the work that we will initialize together, at 7:00 p.m. French time, 2:00 p.m. in Brasilia. You may well imagine that I did not come alone. Question: are the sounds you can hear then the sounds of the cosmos? Dear sister and beloved, when the air passes to the level of the heart, when the heart's breathing begins to settle, a bridge of light is likewise constructed, uniting the personality to the soul and the spirit that, in Vedanta, we called Antakarana, about what Patanjali had, and as time, as immortal, perfectly described the wheels. There are different sounds perceived in the ears, due to their ability to access some states of consciousness and some states of vibration. There are actually 7 different sounds that translate different steps on the way. The sound of the cosmos is that which precedes what the Archangel Michael announced to them nearly a year ago. These sounds simply translate the contact, are part of what we would call the city or powers of the soul, represent the sounds of the soul and the spirit, also called nada. They are, therefore, the testimony and marker of the passage of the breath in your heart, but also of the passage of breath in that new chakra directly connected, to the 10th lamp body of communication with the divine situated above the throat and before chin, corresponding to the placement in the service of clairaudience, the Antakarana, and the connection with the soul and the spirit. Some forms of yogas induce, like Kriya Yoga, to meditate on these sounds. They were techniques well known to yogis to amplify the breath of consciousness. It is through the intermediary of this personal, individual Antakarana that a collective Antakarana is also constructed, illustrated by the electric arc between the Earth, the Earth's magnetosphere, and the Sun. This point of communion will allow, in the coming moment, the announcement of Mary and the return of her existence. It is the same construction that you live individually, at a collective level. Question: is SI sound a subtle nourishment? Why not? But what nourishes is not sound. The sound is only the result of the circulation of the breath. What nourishes them is the breath and the fire. We have no further questions, thank you. From my heart to your heart, I will now withdraw. Receive all my blessings and all the joy that you can awaken. I'll let them finish. From my heart to your heart. With all my love.